Hi, boys and girls, welcome! Welcome to Let's Read Lone Wolf, Book 12, Masters of Darkness. The last of the Magna Kai series. So, we're gonna start now, shall we? The story so far. You are the warrior Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Masters of Summerland, and sole survivor of the massacre that destroyed your kinsmen during the bitter war with your age-old enemies, the Dark Lords of Helgedad. Many centuries have passed since Sun Eagle, the first of your kind, established the Order of the Kai. Aided by the magicians of Desi, he completed a perilous quest to find the 7 crystals of power known as the Lore Stones of Nixitar. And upon their discovery, he unlocked a wisdom and strength that lay within both the Lore Stones and himself. He recorded the nature of his discoveries and his experiences in a great tome entitled The Book of the Magna Kai. You found the last Kai treasure and gave a solemn pledge to restore the Kai to their former glory, thereby ensuring the security of your land in the years to come. To fulfill your pledge, you embarked on the same quest that was undertaken by Sun Eagle over 1,000 years ago, the search for the 7 crystals of power that hold the power of the wisdom of your ancestors. Your quest was to take you far from your northern homeland. Followed in the footsteps by the first Kai Grand Master, you journeyed to Desi and sought the help of the Elder Magi, the magicians who aided Sun Eagle in his quest long ago. There you learned that for centuries the Elder Magi have awaited your coming, an ancient Desi legend told of the birth and rise of the greatness of 2 Korotas Kai, which means sons of the sun. Sorry, I had to sneeze. One was named Ikar, which means eagle, and the other was named Skarn, which means a sexy, sexy man-beast. Or wolf. I mean, you kind of lose something in the translation there. It could really count as either. A prophecy foretold that the Karatas Kai would each come from the north and seek the counsel of the Elder Magi in order that they might fulfill a great quest. Although separated by several centuries, they would share one spirit, one purpose, one sexy, sexy destiny. To triumph over the champions of darkness in the age of great peril. The Elder Magi knew that you were the sexy man-beast, the wolf of Desi legend, and in keeping with their ancient vows, they promised to help you complete your Magna Kai quest. In Elazan, the capital of Desi, you were tutored by the tutored on the histories of the Magnamund, and received lessons in lore that you would have learned from the Kai Masters if only they, like you, had survived the murderous Dark Lord attack at the Kai Monastery. You were eager to learn all that the Elder Magi could teach you in preparation for your quest, but war was to cut short your tutoration. In the Darklands, capital of Helgedad, a struggle for power had been won by the Dark Lord called Nyag. The other Dark Lords, 14 in number, united behind their new leader, and upon his command began to muster huge armies in preparation for the conquest of Magnamund. Swiftly, their Gak legions grew in number, enabling the Nyag to launch a sweeping invasion that was to catch the Freelands unprepared. His legions advanced unchecked until, at the moment, a monumentous battle of Tao, you turned the tide of the war decisively against Nyag by defeating his powerful ally Zakan Kima in mortal combat. Victory at Tao paved the way for the liberation of all the lands that Nyag had taken by force, but the sweet taste of his victory was to turn sour when you discovered that he had captured the last 3 remaining Lore Stones of Nixitar, and had vowed to avenge his defeat by destroying them and killing you. Alarmed by the news, the High Council of the Elder Magi helped you to formulate a plan of action. They had received news from allies in the west that the Lore Stones were being held in the city fortress of Torgar, where Nyag sorcerers of the Nazidarm, were searching for a means of destroying them. Fearing that they might achieve their goal, the Elder Magi made preparations for your secret passage to Torgar, and after a long and perilous journey, you arrived to find it besieged by the allied armies of Telestria and Palamaran. During the many months of the Dark Lord invasion, hundreds of Telestrians were enslaved and sent to labor in the dungeons of the sulfur mines deep within the bowels of Togar. Their plight had seemed hopeless until the allies arrived. Under the command of Lord Adams of Garthen, finally arrived to liberate them. Due in part to your bravery and skill during the assault, Lord Adams' troops were able to breach the Great Torgar Gate and storm its citadel. During this fierce battle, you gained entry to the chamber at the heart of the citadel where the Nadziranim were attempting to destroy the Lore Stones. Above a circular black pit, the 3 radiant gems hung suspended in a fireball of negative energy, the focal point of several beams of power arising from crystals set around the edge of the pit. By means of the gantry, you were able to climb above these energy beams and retrieve one of the 3 Lore Stones. But, as you reached out for the remaining 2, the terrible voice of Dark Lord Ngag filled the chamber. "Vengeance is mine," he rasped, and in the next instant a bolt of blue lightning leapt from a crystal that he held in his fly-like hand. Wait, flies don't have hands. So how can you have a fly-like hand? That's like saying my bird-like fins. That makes no sense whatsoever. My alligator-like wings. Okay, it sheared through the rusty iron gantry, creating a shockwave that sent the Lore Stones tumbling into a black pit. A second bolt ripped the gantry in two, and with a ghastly laugh of Dark Lord Nyag ringing in your ears, you fell headlong into a portal of total darkness, a shadow gate, which led to the twilight world of the Daziarn Plain. When first you looked upon the desolate wastelands of the Daziarn, you recalled what little you had heard tell of this alien world. The magicians of Summerlund believed it to be an astral corridor, connecting and binding the planet Magnamund to other planes of existence. By passing through a shadow gate, one of which was situated below the guild hall in the city of Toron, a person could gain entry to the Daziarn. However, all those who had ever passed through the shadow gate of Toron had never been seen again, prompting the magicians to believe that the journey could only be made in one direction. It was said that from the Daziarn there was no escape. You vowed to restore the Kai, and your stubborn will to survive against all odds made you even more determined to recover the last 2 Lore Stones and find a way of returning to your homeworld. In the course of your search, you discovered that your fight against the forces of darkness was the focus of a greater conflict raging through all the planes of existence, and that the time had come for the actions of one individual to shape the future of every living thing. It came as a great revelation to discover that you were that sexy man-beast individual. Part of your destiny was fulfilled when you fought and defeated the Chaos Master, the leader of the evil force that threatened to conquer the Daziarn. You recovered one of the Lore Stones, and with the help of the godlike creature called Siroka, you were able to find the location of the Shadow Gate and would return you to your own world. Here your quest culminated in a battle with your old enemy Voratar the Traitor, who had found the last Lore Stone and who controlled the city wherein lay the Shadow Gate. He had intended to use the power of the Lore Stone to enable him to return to Magnamund. But your bravery and determination put lay to his plans in a desperate fight. Man, do I mean desperate. On the very threshold of the Shadow Gate itself, you slew him and retrieved the last Lore Stone, thereby completing the Magnakai quest. Instantly, an overwhelming wave of power was transfused into your being, lifting you to a level of consciousness that transcended your mortal frame. You surrendered to this power, and under its guidance you were drawn inexorably towards the Shadow Gate. Willingly, you stepped into the icy darkness and began your triumphant return to the world where you were born. With one hit point. One, I tell you, one singular hit point. No, honestly, I think the Lore Stone, every time you touch it, it heals you, so... One hit point! Now, normally, I just read the story so far. However, since the story so far doesn't set up the book at all, and you kind of need to know the setup of the book to be able to vote. Actually, you really don't, but you should. Especially since when you get to the equipment section, it says saying, these people give you this, and you're like, wait, what? But, wait, what? You haven't told me about those people. So I'm going to read the first numbered section to set up the adventure that we're about to go on, and then we'll go back. Well, I'll read the first couple of number sections to set up the adventure, and then we'll go back and choose our equipment and such. Okay? Because it makes no sense to have all your equipment before you step into the Shadow Gate. That's silly. Upon entering the Shadow Gate, you are submerged in total darkness and fall into a lightless void. Restlessly, you are buffeted and numbed by the intense coldness that drains the strength from your body and fills your mind with strange dreamlike images. It is as if you are being sucked into the heart of a swirling black abyss, and as your senses fade, you pray that you have enough strength to survive the return to Magnamund. Barely a flicker of consciousness remains when the sensation of warmth returns to your frozen limbs. It revives you, and slowly you become aware of the fluorescent mist and pinpoint of light in the far distance. The sensation of falling is replaced by a smooth forward movement, as if you were gliding to a halt at the end of a steep slide. Rapidly, the tingling light grows larger. Tiny light grows larger, until suddenly you emerge from the darkness and find yourself standing in the place you recognize immediately. Pick a number from the random number table. Represents the number of endurance points you've lost during your passes through Shadowgate. Deduct this number of points from your endurance score. So let's say that the Lore Stone fully healed me. Well, you know what? I will assess that afterwards, because depending on what you guys choose, I might have more endurance points. I'll assess that later. Anyway, with your heart pounding in anticipation, you cast your gaze on the grey granite walls of the subterranean vault. Your journey through the Shadowgate has returned you to the land of your birth. You are standing in the externment chamber, a room located deep below the guild hall of the Crystal Star in Toron. Facing you, and illuminated by the glow of several tall candles, is a line of throne-like seats. Two men, both attired in silken robes, are seated at the center of the row, their heads bowed and their hands clasped in silent prayer. The sound of your footsteps stirs them from their meditations, and as they raise their heads, you recognize the face of your friend Baindon and your tutor, Lord Rimora, Speaker of the High Council of the Elder Magi. Of course, we have a picture of them right here. Boy, do they look happy to see you. The gods be praised, breathes Rimora, his eyes wide with astonishment. Skarn has returned! The prophecy is fulfilled! Slowly, they rise and step forward to greet you, their movements hesitant and uncertain, scarcely able to believe that you are alive. Calmly, you assure them that they are not dreaming, and that you have indeed survived your exile to the Daziran Plain, and have returned more determined than ever to avenge yourself upon the Dark Lord Nag. Yeah, see, I stopped that. I'm not going to do it forever. I'll do it randomly. Eagerly, Rimora and Baindon listen as you recount your experiences in the Daziarn, and when you have finished, they tell you about what has befallen Magnamund during your absence. Although it seems that you spent little more than a few days in the Daziarn, more than 8 years has passed since Nag caused you to fall into the Shadowgate of Torgar. Wow. I forgot that so much time had passed. Good lord. He was quick to proclaim your death, says Baindon, unfurling a map of northern Magnamund upon the floor of the chamber. The news came as a terrible blow to us all. Yes, I'm sure it did. Lord Rimora kneels and points at the map, indicating the city of Torgar and the tip of the slender crystal rod. With the tip of a slender crystal rod. After your disappearance, Lord Adams was killed, and the allied armies were quickly ejected from Torgar. Nag declared himself invincible, and in the wake of his victory, the Darklands' defeats were soon halted throughout central Magnamund. A terrible sense of hopelessness befell the allies, which was exploited to the full by the benevolent Nag. His sorcerers, the Nads, I'm just going to call them the Nads. Wait, no. Yeah, whatever. I know it sounds a little wrong, but whatever. The Nads created devices called Tanoz Tukar to enable each of the Dark Lords to survive in territories outside their accursed realm. Previously, they had been unable to survive beyond the Darklands for any great length of time, and during these rare brief excursions, their powers were greatly reduced. Now that they are able to lead their armies in battle personally, and now they are able to lead their battles and armies and battles and stuff, and the words did fail me. Now, they are able to lead their armies in battle personally, and they have been eager to exercise their newfound freedom. The war against the Dark Lords is all but lost, continues Baindon, his eyes cast down at the map, which is covered with black markers indicating the frightening number of countries Nag has added to his empire. With the help of our allies in Durinor, Summerlund has so far resisted his attempts at invasion, but now we find ourselves cut off from Durinor's aid by a blockade of Dark Lord ships. Here, he says, pointing to the Gulf of Helenag, is where Nag has constructed a huge naval base called Argazad, and it is from here that he launches his fleet of ironclad warships to blockade our coast. Hang on. The Summerlunding Navy is no match for these monstrous sea machines, and without the troops, food, and weapons we have been receiving by sea from Durinor, our days are numbered. Lord Wimera raises to his feet and stares fixedly into your eyes. Your skill, bravery, and your vow to avenge the death of the Kais are the key to our salvation. Only you, Lone Wolf, can save us. Now, you are our only hope in this hour of darkness. Why, yes. Yes, I am. 3 months ago, on the day of your Summerlunding celebrate the feast of Fairmarn, I foresaw in a dream your return to this world, the place and hour of your coming. Says Wimera reverently. I and all my brothers held this dream to be a sign from the god Kai that you had not died in Torgar, and since that day we have prepared for your return so that we may help you fulfill your vow and deliver us all from the tyranny of the Dark Lords. With the aid of Guildmaster Baindon, we have conceived a plan that can secure a lasting victory. Defeat of the Dark Lords on the field of battle is now impossible, and the allied armies are greatly outnumbered and hard-pressed to protect what little remains of the free lands. The only way in which we can rid ourselves of this evil is by destroying Nag and the Transfuser, the device that transmits power to the Tanos Tukar. Both of them are in Helgadad. To hear the name of that foul city spoken aloud is enough to send a shiver down your spine, and the thought of daring to venture there to destroy its ruler fills you with cold dread. It is a daunting task that we ask you to attempt, Lone Wolf, says Baindon, sensing your anxiety, but only you have any hope of succeeding in this desperate mission. It may be of some comfort to learn that with the Dark Lords leading their armies in the field, the defenses of the Black City are now at their weakest. Only Nag and his second-in-command, Dark Lord Taktal, reside there at present. You spoke of a plan, you say, returning your gaze to the wise face of Lord Wimera. Without replying, he bends down and pulls out a leather sack from beneath the chair on which he sat when you entered the chamber. It contains what appears to be a mass of triangular crystals that are fused together. At once you recognize its purpose. It is a powerful charge, similar to the one which Lord Adams used to destroy the Torgar Gate. This will put paid to the Transfuser, says Wimera, holding up the crystal explosive. He points to a shard that is longer than the others and informs you that the device is activated by withdrawing and reinserting the tip first into the core. It must be placed beneath the Transfuser, and it will detonate exactly 15 minutes after it is primed. Carefully, he replaces the explosive into the sack and offers it to you. But how am I to gain entry into Helgadad, you ask, as you accept the deadly package tentatively. We have made preparations, answers Baindon, pointing once more to the map. A caravel is anchored in Torn Harbor. Under cover of darkness, it will run the blockade, then head east to deceive the enemy into thinking that it is bound for Duranor. When safe to do so, it will turn about and steer a course for the Dejikata. The shallows there are free of pack ice this time of year, and the captain should be able to land you on the coast close to the Anarch Isture. From there you must make your way on foot to the stronghold of Arnak and seek out the slave master. He is one of our agents and can be trusted. Make yourself known to him by saying the words, Summerlund is burning. He alone knows where in Helgadad the Transfuser is located, and he can arrange for your safe passage to the secret passage into the city. Once inside, you must destroy Nag and the Transfuser as quickly as possible. And once the task is completed, how do I effect an escape? You must make your way back to the Aranak. The demise of the Dark Lords will announce the success of your mission, and we shall then mount an expedition to bring you safely home. But until then, no one must know your true identity for the reason for your journey to Helgadad. Silently, you contemplate the awesomeness of this mission, its dangers, and the terrible consequences that will befall Magnamund should you fail. At length, you raise your eyes from the map and force a smile. When must I leave, you ask, bravely. Tomorrow night, Baindon replies, an hour after sunset. Mark the crystal explosive on your action chart. A special item, carry strapped to your backpack. If you already carry money, you must discard one in favor of the crystal explosive. If you possess the summer sword, turn to page 282. 282. You wield a weapon imbued with great power, Lone Wolf, says Wimera, glancing at the summer sword sheathed at your side. Be sure to use it well. Now that you possess the wisdom of the lower stones, you will discover new strengths within its golden blade. It is the bane of the Dark Lords, the instrument of their destruction. Yet by its very nature, the power it can alert and of its power, it can alert them to your presence and betray your identity. He reaches to his waist and unbuckles a seemingly plain leather sword belt and scabbard. I have prepared this scabbard from materials impregnated with corallium. It will contain and keep hidden the powers of the summer sword, he said, handing this to your accoutrements. Handing you the accoutrements. Remember, to unsheath the summer sword inside the Darklands is to light a beacon of warning that Nag and his minions will surely see. Only when you have Nag within striking distance should you draw your blade and seal his doom. You discard your old scabbard in favor of Rimmeroz. Take his advice. Mark this on your action chart. You may not discard one in favor if you already carry the net maximum number allowed. Alright. Alright, we're going to stop here at 229. Alright? This is where we're going to stop and then go back and get our equipment and such. So, that's the task that is laid out before us, folks. We have to travel to the Dark Lord capital itself and destroy Nag and the Transfuser. Quite a hefty task. Alright, let's see how we're going to accomplish this task. Magna-Kai disciplines. This is where we get to choose our skills. We have every skill save 2, and I'm going to point out those 2 for you guys to vote on. We have the choice between animal control. Magna-Kai discipline enables the Kai Master to communicate with most animals and to determine their purpose and intentions. It also enables the Kai Master to fight from the saddle with great advantage. The other one we don't have is Psi Surge. This psychic skill enables the Kai Master to attack an enemy using the force of his mind. It can be used as well as normal combat weapons and adds an extra 4 points to your combat skill. However, it deducts 2 endurance points for every round of combat in which you use it. Got it? Increases combat skill but hurts you to use it. Those are the 2 we don't have. I'm not going to go over all the others because you should know them by now. Alright, equipment. Before you leave Torn and begin your faithful mission, Banin gives you a map of the Darklands, which is right here. Right here. So, we're here in Torn. We're going to run the blockade, look like we're going this way, and then we're going to turn around and go this way to here. So we're going to go up around here and down here. They're going to drop me off here, and then I'm going to meet the Slave Master here, and I'm going to travel to Helgadad there. Got it? Alright, I'm glad we're clear. Hang on. Let me redo this. There we go. Okay. And a pouch of gold. To find out how much gold is in the pouch, pick a random number table, add 10 to the number. I don't remember how much I still have. But I'll do this next week when I have my actual saved game. Bandon also makes available a choice of equipment to help you survive the hostile enemy heartland. For the voyage into the cold waters of the Kalties, you are given special fur-lined clothing, sturdy boots, and a hooded cape made from the waterproof Kulkoth hide. You may also take 6 items from the following list to add to any you possess. Alright. Sword, bow, quiver, rope, potion of lamb's fur, lantern, mace, 4 meals, dagger, quarterstaff, axe. Alright, I'm going to take the meals and the potion. That's all I need. I have everything else. I'll replenish my arrows. So, we're good to go on that. Rules for combat. We already know how that works. Alright, now improved disciplines. No, lore stones, or lore circles. Alright, lore circles is when you have certain groups of Magna-Kai skills, you get bonuses to your combat skill and endurance. We already have 2 of them. There are 4. There is the Lore Circle of Fire, which we have, +1 to combat skill, +2 endurance. Lore Circle of Light, which we don't have, which is +3 to endurance points, and that's animal control and curing. We have curing, but we don't have animal control. Circle of Solaris, which we do have, which is +1 combat skill, +3 endurance, and Circle of Spirit, which we don't have, which is +3 to combat skill and +3 to endurance. So basically, if we choose Animal Control, we'll get the Circle of Light. If we choose Psi Surge, we'll get the Circle of Spirit. So it's up to you guys which ones you want. Improved disciplines. Let's take a look at our new disciplines as an Archmaster. Animal control. Archmasters with this skill are able to command most animals to do their bidding, although effectiveness is diminished when attempting to control a hostile creature. Curing. Archmasters are able to use their healing power to repair serious wounds sustained in battle. If, whilst in combat, their endurance is reduced to 6 points or less, they can use their skill to restore 20 points. This ability can only be used once every 100 days. Wow, that is nice. Hunt Mastery. Archmasters who possess this ability benefit from greatly increased senses of hearing, smell, and night vision. These senses become even more acute upon attaining the rank of Kai Grand Master. Psy-Surge. When using their psychic ability to attack an enemy, Archmasters may add 6 points to their combat skill instead of the usual 4 points. For every round in which Psy-Surge is used, Archmasters only need to deduct 1 endurance point. When using the weaker psychic attack Mind Blast, they may add 3 points to their combat skill without the loss of endurance points. Oh, cool. That's actually pretty useful. Archmasters with Nexus are able to withstand extremes of heat and cold and possess a limited immunity to harmful elements such as flames, toxic gases, and corrosive liquids. The duration of the immunity is increased upon reaching the rank of Kai Grand Master. So those are improved disciplines we will have because we have completed all the other books. Whew! Alright, folks. That's it. Get to voting. Really, the only thing you have to vote on is whether we want animal control or Psy-Surge. Now, the good news is that next book, you will have a lot more choices of what we need. Alright? So, everyone, I will see you next time when we start the last adventure of the Magna Kai series, Masters of Darkness.